Yeah,
Don't
no.
start you off on the wrong foot. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to give you a little scenario. I'm going to paint a picture of just a simulated conversation you had with an attorney with a law firm here, and I'm going to give you, I'm going to walk through the CMIT Solutions Business Assessment Guide. I'm going to use that document to have you ask me a few questions. I'll keep it up here on the screen so you can see it. Can you see that on the screen right now? And will just be our reference point for it. I'm not going to ask you to do all the questions. I'm going to have each of you ask me 2 or 3 questions as we go through each section. I'll start off with the business section. Then at the end of the hour, or we'll come back after Roger's finished, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to give you the whole scenario, all the things that, all the answers to all the questions you should have asked will be in this 2-page document. And what I'm going to ask you to do is assemble this into an assessment summary and begin to recreate the situation that would be the situation section of the proposal. And then we're going to use that to start off tomorrow's discussion about how do we pull the rest of the story together using the technical assessment and the business assessment and start crafting out what we want to present as a solution. And this is going to have a little bit of a flow well into tomorrow. Then on Thursday night, I'm going to ask you to kind of put the rest of the proposal together as you would take it to the review table. You, your tech, your service delivery manager, if you have one, whatever, your internal team. And we're going to go look at that, pull it together, make sure everything connects. We're going to price it out, and then we're going to have it ready to present. We won't ask you to present it to me or anyone, but it's presentation ready as far as the review document. And then as we go through the next few sessions on our coaching, Teresa's going to walk you through how to take that and present it. We'll be working with her on that as well. Then present it to and then ask for the order, and then work on the contract, and then talk about what it takes to do service delivery. So I want to walk through the whole process, kind of in an abridged form. And what I'll start out with, I'm going to give you, I'm going to ask you to write some things down here because I don't want to show you the whole paper yet until we're through a couple of sample questions. But it's pretty simple. You met a fellow by the name of Bob Smith, and you met him maybe at the Chamber of Commerce meeting back when we were having face-to-face network events. But he calls you and says, "Hey, Jim, I've got a need here. I think you might be able to help. We met at the Chamber event the other night. I'd like you to come on over and let's talk a little bit about what my concern and what my issues are, and see if there's anything you can do to help us or recommend to us that would solve some of these problems." My next question would be, great. Can you tell me just a little bit about who you are, in terms of just the basic fundamentals of your business, how long you've been in business, et cetera? And Bob says, sure. My partner, Jack Jones, and I started this business a number of years ago as a transactional law firm. Transactional law is distinguished from criminal law, and that it's business law dealing mainly with contracts, mergers and acquisitions, et cetera, intellectual property. This is the business that they're in. I said, well, how many people do you have working for you? And Bob said, I've got 15 people in the firm, and that's the number of employees we have. We've anticipated that we're going to be adding about 2 to 3 more over the next year. I'm currently thinking about 2 attorneys and a support person, internal support person, to manage that process. We're growing pretty well, and in this particular area of intellectual property, that's where our strengths are. And so, Jack is really, really strong on intellectual property. I tend to come from the M&A side of transactional law. And together we've got a nice little target market that we look at serving the legal needs of small businesses, not the big ones. We don't try to compete with the big box attorneys that charge $300, $400, $500 an hour to do things. And we work a lot with the smaller businesses here, especially as they're getting into licensing their technology, thinking about acquiring another company or in the process of being acquired, as well as trying to perhaps leverage their intellectual property to other technology partners themselves. So that's kind of where we are. That's where we started. This is the story that you've got walking into the assessment. This is a pretty what I call a unicorn. That's what Rob likes to call it. I'd love to have every assessment go just like that. Have a phone call come in, do the assessment the next day. The reality is, you probably would have had several conversations with me, but we are where we are. We walk in, and this will happen. You will have these 2-day turnaround kind of situations where people just need to get you in right away. So you're going to do minimal research. You're going to find out a little bit about me. I'll give you some material to take a look at as far as what my industry is all about. And we'll just pretend you're able to go onto some attorney's page somewhere, find a transactional law attorney, and just take a look at what they talk about, how they describe themselves, and that would be kind of an example of the exercise we go through. But what I want to do right now is I want you guys to just get a couple of little practice shots at asking questions. I'll guide the process a little bit. I'm going to start with Stan, and I'm going to start you on the questioning process here. By the way, if you want to take this document into an assessment, a real live assessment with you, do it. Sitting across the table, Chris can't see what I'm doing here. He can't see my documents. He just says, I got a document here that I'm taking notes on. That's all he sees. So the process would start out with Stan. I just want you to. How would you ask me about my business? What would you want to know about my business if you were just starting down the path of asking? Tell me about yourself. What kinds of questions would you ask?
You're muted, sir. Me too. I do it all the time. I'm not here to judge.
Pastor Day, Bill.
I'm sorry. Stanley. Dan, I'm sorry. We're going to start with Stanley.
Yeah, so Stanley, you're going to kind of get me going on the business. What kind of business questions would you think important? This is kind of a loose guide here. You don't need to have specific questions like, when were you founded? What's your address? What's your telephone number? We're looking at, why are you in this business? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Keep it general, and try to see if there's things that you want to capture as far as information you would think would be important about the company itself.
Oh, well, Bob, I appreciate having the opportunity to talk to you about your business needs. I did notice on your webpage that your business is in this particular area. I won't go into detail, but could you elaborate a little bit more about your specific focus of your business?
Sure. Yeah, I think we started down that path the other night. Specifically, we got started because we felt that there was an underserved need for small businesses. We're in kind of a high-tech area in this part of the country, and people were starting on buying each other and developing intellectual technology kind of tools and products. So we decided that would be a great business to be in. Hired my partner, Jack, decided to kind of merge our practices. I come out of an M&A background with a large law firm, and Jack's been really deep into intellectual property for a number of years, having come out of California. So we started this business with the idea of helping smaller businesses with smaller budgets avoid the huge costs that they confront with these big box companies. We wanted to provide them personal service, and we started our firm with the idea of being firmly entrenched in the IP and the M&A kinds of transactional law that's becoming very, very common and very important to a lot of small businesses' growth and existence. And we started 15 years ago. Just he and I and a little law clerk. We're now up to 15 people. We've got myself. I've got 2 admins. I've got 2 paralegals, and I've got 6. What does that make? Yeah, 7 attorneys. Does that answer your question? We've been growing pretty well. I'll say that. Over the last 15 years, we're up to 15 people. We see a big surge coming up in terms of high tech here in the Austin area. And so I'm hiring 2 more attorneys and another law clerk coming up here probably toward the end of the year as we start 2021.
All right. Well, it sounds like you guys are doing an excellent job, and I see that you anticipate some additional growth. What is it in particular that you think you need some help or assistance in as far as expanding your operations?
Well, obviously, one of the things that I mentioned to you, the reason I called you is that I've got some concerns about the reliability and effectiveness of our IT infrastructure, being able to help us expand and kind of meet the demands we're putting on it. And also the person that I pay to come in to fix things when they're broken, just not doing a very good job. So I'm kind of looking at what my alternatives might be there.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more about your IT environment?
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because we're not ready for that yet.
Oh, okay.
And the reason
I know what I
I
can
want to
ask.
keep it segmented. We want to get through one step. We're talking about
Yeah.
the company. Now, I'm going to move over to Bill, since he's the next pile next to you, and I'm going to say, Bill, I want you to start now. Where do you, if I talk about my network's down all the time, and I'm having performance, and I'm not really happy with my IT provider, where would you start the questioning process? Would it be backup recovery? Would it be security? Or would it be network productivity?
Well, I mean,
All right, network productivity?
all those are good spots. I mean, it's,
Yeah,
if your IT's down and it's not working well, it's like, who's your current provider, and tell me a little more about what.
sure. So
down
what I'm
means.
looking for is of those 3 categories, where do I start first? Because I've got 3 different lines of questioning that I usually go through. Each of them are different depending on that category. Remember, we had security, we had backup recovery, disaster planning, and we had network performance and productivity as sort of the 3 buckets that typically a challenge is going to arise from or within.
Okay. Well, I would go to network stability and productivity then.
Good choice. So we're going to go right straight there, and I want you to go through the pain funnel with me real quickly. And that's on page, well, you see it on my screen, right? See it right there on my screen, the network stability, connectivity. Is just walk me through that pain funnel, and we'll stop there. We'll see how much we learned from Bob in this conversation.
Okay. Well, Bob, you're talking about performance, stability, network going down. So how long has this been an issue for you guys?
Why don't you start a little broader? Tell me more about that. That's kind of what I call the common question at the top there. Can you tell me more about that? Because I want to get a narrative going.
I see.
See what I gain from that. So here's my story. Glad you asked. When you and I first talked, I was getting a little nervous about how often our computer was going down, and I was a little concerned about how long it took our current IT guy to get over here to fix it. But it's getting worse, and so that's why I picked up the phone and called you. The situation is that about once a week, something goes on with some aspect of the server and the network, and we basically just lose all our productivity for about 4 hours. And the 4 hours is because it's taking that long for my IT guy, Joe Flash, to show up. And he gets it done, he gets it fixed in an hour, and everything's running again. But I've been down for 5 because he's taking 4 hours to get there. So a little bit of a disruption in our business. My attorneys don't really get impacted by it, but my law clerks do. I've got so I got about 5. I think I got 5 law clerks. They're down for the entire 4 hours because they're so dependent upon Word, getting contracts written out, getting things, filing documents put together, doing research on the internet in terms of IP kinds of stuff, researching M&A opportunities and what have you, that it just knocks them dead. So I kind of lose all that productivity for the 4 or 5 hours that it takes Joe to be notified, come in, fix it, go. So that's what's bothering me the most right now. It's just getting to be very frustrating and also beginning to eat into my productivity.
I can see that how that happens. So you're saying this happens, on a once a week basis. How long has it been going on? I mean, how long have you been?
It's really kind of peaked here in the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
It wasn't quite as bad, earlier this year, but it seems to be getting more and more frequent. It was happening once every, 2 or 3 weeks, and now it's happening almost every week now.
Gotcha. So you're, have you tried any? I mean, obviously you got, Flash coming out to help you out, but have you done anything to try and remedy the problem or resolve it in a long-term fix?
Well, I reached out to Joe a couple times, said, what can you do about getting here faster? Can you get me a better response time, or can you up my service level? I don't mind paying for it, but I just need to get the service out of it. And he's been reluctant to do that. He said he's pretty busy too, and I can see why. This town's booming. I've kind of looked around to see if there's any other alternative, maybe hire somebody on staff or bring somebody in to kind of oversee it. Then I'll talk to you guys, heard about you guys as someone who I could outsource the IT to. Mm-hmm. And so I just picked up the phone and called you back after I talked to you, like I said, a few weeks ago. And I think now it's time to talk serious. I really need someone to take a hard look at what we got going here and get a plan put together.
Okay, good. So you really haven't had a chance to dig into why the network's going down or what's causing
Not
those?
really. Joe's very vague. Said sometimes one time it was a virus, another time he had a problem with some connection. There wasn't enough memory. He recently added another disk to the system. Cost me about $600, and I still don't see any difference in it. So he's trying a bunch of things and it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like, okay, well, poking around, trying a few things. So let's talk about the impact. Your clerks are down, attorneys are still billing, doing good there. What do you think that's costing you in a year? Obviously, you spent $600 to repair it.
A lot. When I have my entire admin staff not being able to produce anything, sitting around trying to make work for 4 hours, 5 hours, I know it's costing me money. I mean, I'm afraid to put paper on it, but hey, I'm paying them a salary, so they're getting paid, and they're just not able to do everything that they do, and they don't like it either. I mean, sure, it's free money, but they don't have a feeling of contribution.
Gotcha.
Morale is down, and I just don't like it.
Yep. No, I can see that. Yeah, people like to go home and feel like they did, were productive for the day. So, so if you don't get a chance of resolving this, getting through this, problem that you're, if it doesn't get fixed, how's that going to impact your business? What are you seeing down the road?
Well, I'm afraid to hire. I'm targeted to grow 10-15% next year, and I got to hire 2 people to do that. But with an infrastructure like I got right now, I can't handle it. I can't do it. It's stopping me from getting that part of my growth plan put together.
Gotcha. Sure. And you personally, are you putting in some more time, or is it affecting you? Is it causing you to lose sleep?
Frustrating. I've got to play cheerleader with my staff and things.
Okay.
Not really going along like they should be, and I'm worried about losing some of them maybe if they just get real frustrated to find some other job. I worry about that. Of course, I worry about my own growth plans, and I lose sleep and get a little anxiety over that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with competitors.
Okay. I can see that there.
Good. Okay, good job. I like the flow, and I like your cadence and the way you manage your tonality and everything else, your sincerity, you're leaning into the question. Hopefully that's not just to read the screen, but leaning into me as if we were face to face across the table. Yeah, that was great. That was really, really well done. So 1:45, I'm going to let Chris take over here. Stan and Tan and Jerome, I'm going to get Tan and Jerome, I'll let you finish up with the budget, the decision process kind of question, and then I'm going to give you the cheat sheet and let you go off and create some of your value propositions and formulas, look for the quotes, try to write that first situation out like you see it, like you've been how it's been described to you by me, and that'll be your exercise for tonight. We'll be finished for the day. So we're going to reconvene at what time?
Well, here's the thing. I've got a 3 o'clock and a 2:30, so we've got Jerome and Stanley for a one-on-one, me and Rob. So I'm gonna have to. I'll set the expectation now. I'm not going to give you the homework now and the cheat sheet because I want to be focused on Roger when he gets here. But you'll have that as soon as he gets concluded. So I don't think we're going to have the ability to reconvene because we're taking 2 of you off today between 3 and 4. We're taking 2 of you off tomorrow between 3 and 4.
Hey, Chris, you don't sound too clear.
As far as the direction or as far as volume is concerned? We've got them both working right now because we got a lot going on today. So we've got 3 o'clock with, we have 3:30 with you today, Jerome. We have 3 o'clock with Stanley. And then tomorrow we've got Dan and Bill in their one-on-one with Rob and myself from your assessment review. So we're probably not going to have the ability to reconvene as a whole today. I will have those assignments and the cheat sheets that Jim referred to when Roger is done speaking. I don't want to give it to you now because I want to make sure that we're engaged.
Good. So you get the gist of it. You heard Stan, you heard Bill go through the questioning process. I just wanted to kind of see the mechanics of it. We will kind of emulate it in the morning, just kind of go through it. But I'm going to go ahead and assign the full assignment to you tonight. So, but I do want you to have a little bit of practice of going through the assessment questions. We'll do that in the morning. So you won't see me for the rest of the day. You will have from Chris the Smith & Jones detail. It has all the data, all the information you need to fill in the blanks on the assessment and to start painting your picture of what the current situation looks like. And I want you to remember, I kind of just almost cried on Bill's shoulder here when he asked me how it was impacting me. That's the story you want to tell. There's not only some financial loss and financial hits going on with this law firm. I am terribly frustrated. I'm afraid I'm not going to meet my goals for next year. Those are the kind of quotes you need to capture and play back. And you can use almost a third person description of what's going on at Smith & Jones. The example that you can look at in the proposal template is on Connect. You can look at it in that same area in Connect is on the resources library. Look for the sales tile. Click on the sales tile, and you'll see the example. You see these documents that I got up here on the screen.
They're in Connect now. These documents are in Connect. The homework is not.
The homework is not, but the homework you will be putting in there.
I will as soon as Roger.
But to have a sense of what a situation story looks like, there is a sample proposal on Connect that you can look at to get a sense of how it's written. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow. Okay?
All right. So Jerome and Tan, you're not off the hook. We're going to reconvene your part of this tomorrow. You'll have that assignment probably right around 2:45 before we go in with Stanley at 3 o'clock. But appreciate you guys working with us. We got the time when we could with Roger, so we have that, and then he's able to speak to you. So let's reconvene. Let's call it a clean 10. Then let's be ready at 2 o'clock for Roger.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Thanks, Chris.